I never thought life would unravel the way it did. One moment I was brushing off his concerns, teasing him for being overly sensitive, and the next he was sliding a suitcase shut, leaving me behind as if I were nothing more than a stranger who had briefly passed through his story. My name is Emily. I'm 27 years old. If I could erase one choice from my past, it would be the night I defended someone who never earned my loyalty, over the man who had given me nothing but real love. That's when everything began to collapse. To understand it, we have to rewind a couple of years, back to a lazy Sunday morning. I was late to brunch. No surprise there. By the time I showed up, Noah was already on his second mimosa. He grinned at me, tossing out one of his usual playful lines about how I somehow managed to make lateness look good. That was Noah in every sense. Quick with a joke, comfortable like an old sweater. He had been around since high school, through every heartbreak, every reckless night, every poor decision I made. He was the person I could call at 2 a.m., the one who always picked up when nobody else did. We had kissed a few times in the past, but I never saw it as anything serious. At least, that's what I told myself. Noah was my fallback, my safety net, the person I never questioned keeping close. Then Jacob came into my life. Unlike Noah, he wasn't flashy or loud. He was steady, calm, the kind of man who could quiet the chaos in my head just by being near. Jacob was a civil engineer, yet when he spoke about bridges and highways, it sounded like poetry. We met at a wedding when he accidentally spilled wine on my dress. He apologized as if I were royalty. That tiny awkward moment turned into coffee, then dinner, and eventually into something real. The first 6 months with Jacob felt like living inside a dream. He remembered how I liked my coffee. He surprised me with flowers for no reason. He stood by me through meltdowns without making me feel like a burden. For the first time, I felt completely understood. He even welcomed Noah into my life, or at least tried to at first. But Noah made it difficult. He mocked Jacob behind his back, calling him Mr. Spreadsheet, and joked that he would always be my number one. I laughed along, though deep down, maybe I laughed because part of me wanted it to be true. Jacob never lost his temper over it, but I could see the unease written on his face. Sometimes he'd ask softly, "Did you ever have feelings for Noah?" I'd laugh it off and say, "Of course not, he's just a friend." But my phone told a different story. Messages from Noah would pop up at 1 in the morning. Inside jokes, shared memories, reminders of nights Jacob didn't know about. I'd flip my phone over, silencing the screen, telling myself it was to avoid needless arguments. But if I was honest, I knew it was more than that. The breaking point came the night I lied. Jacob's birthday was coming up, and I told him I had to stay late at work. Instead, I went to Noah's apartment. We didn't cross any physical lines, just watched a movie, but when he leaned in and whispered, "I miss how it used to be," something inside me stirred, something I didn't want to acknowledge. The next morning, Jacob made pancakes and kissed my forehead like he always did. I wanted to confess then and there, but I swallowed the guilt and told myself it wasn't bad enough to destroy everything. 2 weeks later, Jacob looked at me with a kind of clarity that made my stomach twist. "I love you," he said gently, "but I need you to block Noah. Not to control you, but because it feels like he's always between us. And I'm tired of feeling like a guest in my own relationship." Instead of listening, I laughed. I mocked his request, called him insecure. I'll never forget the way he didn't argue back, just nodded, quiet and calm. Then he stood up, walked to the closet, and began packing his things. His composure scared me more than if he had screamed. I begged. I cried. I yelled. But Jacob didn't waver. "This isn't just about Noah," he told me softly. "It's about how you made me feel small for wanting boundaries. How you treated me like I was weak for asking for respect. I'm not weak. I just know what I deserve." And then he left. No slammed door, no bitter goodbye, just silence. That night, Noah came over. I thought maybe his presence would numb the ache. But he seemed distracted, glued to his phone, barely listening to me. He didn't stay long. And in that hollow quiet after he left, the truth finally hit me. Noah had never been my anchor. He had only been a distraction, the thrill of recklessness. And when the secrecy was gone, so was he. Weeks turned into months. Jacob never reached out. I wrote him a long, desperate email, spilling everything I had never said out loud. He never responded. Friends told me he had moved into his own place, started working out, even posted pictures smiling with his sister's dog. Meanwhile, I fell apart. That was when I finally cut Noah out completely, deleted the messages, erased the photos, and began therapy. I forced myself to face the wreckage I had caused, to stop hiding behind excuses. It's been 9 months now. I'm cautiously seeing someone new. But Jacob still lingers in my thoughts, not because I want him back, but because he taught me what real love looks like. Love that has boundaries. Love that refuses to beg for respect. Love strong enough to walk away when it stops being safe to stay. For so long, I thought blocking someone was petty. Now I see it for what it really is. Strength. Sometimes cutting ties isn't about punishing another person. It's about protecting yourself. Jacob wasn't weak when he left. He was brave. And when he closed that chapter, he wasn't giving up on love. He was finally choosing himself.